So as a leader now, you can set strategies based on how your team wants to be valued. And in Charametrics, we ask that question as the individual. So the idea is they keep their profile on their workstation or in their record. Then when you engage that person, or if you're going to give them a reward, you look at how they prefer to be valued. Now, if I don't value gifts and rewards and I value quality time and being heard, then what do you think is going to be powerful for that individual? If my preferred way is to be heard and my least preferred way is being rewarded, what might be a good strategy to reward that individual?
Regular one-on-one conversations and opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, yeah. Or you get an executive to take that person out for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've got an integrated reward. So they've given them lunch, they've given them space to be heard. They acknowledge them when they're there so they feel seen. So you can really be smart to integrate these things. You've incorporated the element of surprise. And then you could ask them about, okay, what's a strategy or a schedule that we can support you with to progress your career? Yeah. Now that person is totally valued, and that will propel them through 6, 12 months, maybe even beyond. Yeah. And then you just keep re-engaging the team. Send them a letter in between to thank them for being committed on their journey. Like, it's just so small, but it's so impactful.
Yeah. And you get that from team culture engagement survey, right? All these, you know,
so
like
this is what we're going to go into now. So the team culture engagement survey, it's in page 15 to 26 of your handbook. We're going to go through the 7 layers of culture, the 5 levers of influence, the 5 languages of preferred gratitude or being valued. Let me update that. It's the 5 ways of being valued. 5 ways being valued, and the team's perspective on the 7 layers of focus. So let's go into that now. So if you open up your handbook, page 15, just go to page 15. Here we go, page 15. So this is the next activity. So in your activity book, you'll have at the end the activity that we're going to do as well. So we've already gone through in the last session the 7 layers, so we know what they're about, but this is there to explain it. So as you unpack this for your clients, it's on the report so they can learn about it as they go. But you're the specialist in this now, you can help them understand what it means. Now, something I didn't mention in the last session is that each layer has a distinctive focus between me and we. So the feeling safe layer is very me focused. Yeah, it's about sustaining my existence. The feeling supported layer is a very we focused layer. It's about how do I interconnect. Accomplished is me, valued is we. Feeling free is me, feeling evolved is we. It's the interactions and learning with my environment. And the feeling purposeful is balanced with both. And it's about how do I fit into the greater context of the world. So the 5 levers of influence are the self perspective and mindset, leadership's influence, communication, organizations and systems, and the ecosystem. So gratitude and care is really at the core of what we do, which is why we have the 5 ways of being valued. So the report will come out with some key findings. So the overarching engagement summary map shows you the entire team's engagement based on every plot. So it's anonymous. You don't know who the dots are. We will never print a report that has less than 4 values on it. So it protects people's identity. So you can't reverse engineer and understand who it is. Now, what this tells you is the engagement matrix. So we are a bit more evolved than the Gallup and ResearchGate results. We don't just say engaged and disengaged. For us, there's different types of engagement. There is disengaged, obviously where you don't want anyone, but there's disheartened. So disheartened means there's a sense of meaning, evolution, and autonomy, though it's struggling in the foundational aspects of culture, which is safety, supported, accomplished, and valued. So this happens a lot in charities. Yeah. They've got a high sense of purpose, evolution, and autonomy, but they can't get enough to survive, sustain themselves, and feel valued for what they do. Now, directive engagement is where a lot of corporates often are. So there's a sense of safety and stability. They feel somewhat supported. They feel accomplished achieving their results, and they feel valued for doing their job. But they don't have a high sense of autonomy, evolution, and purpose and meaning. So they fall into this directive engagement space. Self-actualize is where you have a nice balance of both. So what we're looking for on this is what we call correlations. So you could have a horizontal correlation, which is across here, or you could have a horizontal correlation across here. That's probably the worst cultures that we see. They're disengaged and directive engagement at their peak. Then you could have vertical correlations. So you could have a vertical correlation here, disengaged and disheartened. They're the most challenged charity organizations that we see. And then you could have directive engagement to self-actualized engagement. So they are the prospering cultures. They are this type of correlation. So this one that we have in the case study is a cross correlation from disengaged to self-actualized engagement, which gives us insight that elements of the culture all exist, but they're not well articulated for people to induct, communicate, and engage their leaders and systems with. So
is disheartened often just as before they're about to leave?
No, they can leave in any of these three zones. So people can even leave here. They're less likely to leave if they're in this zone, but these zones are where people leave, and the most leave here. You'll see them from these three slowly drifting into this zone, and then these people bugger off.
Yeah.
So, and if they're high performing, but they're sensing a high ratio of people disengaged, these people bugger off as well.
They move on to the new, more exciting opportunity.
Yep. So that's the first part of the insight, which is incredibly powerful in itself, to look at the big picture. The next part is what we call the heat map. I personally think this is the most powerful part of the whole survey. So it tells us the collated responses of every team member based on the 7 layers across the 5 levers. So what stands out as a strength, this is out of 5 scale, and it's a heat map. So even if the lowest score was a 4, it's still going to highlight your best opportunity with red and your strength with green. So what's strong about this culture from a glance?
Acceptance and connection.
Yeah. So self-perspective, which can be translated to mindset as well, is strong for people to feel accepted and connected, so that there's a sense of support. So what's an area of growth? Notice the language I use. It's not a weakness. It's about growing it.
Leadership.
Yeah, discovering growth through leadership.
Yeah, so leadership, providing discovering growth so people can feel evolved. Yeah, that's their key area of growth. So that's the heat map. Very powerful at a glance.
Quick question, Stephen. So when you see the self-perspective and for acceptance and connection, it's 4.2. But when we go to move to, leadership on the acceptance and connection, it's 2.9, right next to it.
Yep.
It's not a big difference, but there's a gap. So that means that, people are just more, from like a mindset perspective, they're more accepted and connected, but they're not connecting with the leadership.
You got it. So what you do with the heat map, at a glance, you can see patterns in the strategy. So you can see here, this layer, this lever, and this lever. Yeah. So now I've got, at a glance, I know, here's some key areas where I can ask great questions at certain areas to understand what's going on in the culture.
Okay.
Now, this report comes as a collective report, but you can also then break it down per segment. So I might go to one department and say, okay, it happens all the time. Let's say, oh yeah, I've got a suspicion that this score is being dragged down by 2 departments out of 8 of them. So we break down the reports by departments, and when we look at the trends per department, it's like, oh, you're right. It's actually 3 departments that have this issue. And like, okay, let's explore more. Then you really create a collective strategy. So you might have something where the whole organization is creating a shift to create, you know, a learning and development program across this whole layer. And you might have some departments where we drill in and we do executive coaching for leaders to help them understand how to build connection and help people feel valued.
Okay. Yeah, it's very powerful results, like what we see right now, like which can go to different actions.
And there's a number of other softwares out there that survey. The power of some of the ones like Culture App, for instance, is its dynamic surveying tool. So it keeps asking questions, 1 or 2 a week of all the people, and it's collating the information. That's useful when you've got certain topical things that you want to survey. What's powerful about our survey is it's very, very deeply strategic on culture. The depth of the questions and the strategy in dissecting the questions so that you can execute strategy is very powerful and can't be replicated in that way. So it allows you now, for us, it's not about continuous surveying. It's about understanding where the culture is, setting a strategy, like I said before, with the catamaran and the yacht. This is our navigation course. This is where we're heading. And once we execute the strategy, month to month, we check in with the culture reporting from the ShareTree app. And we know if we're heading in that direction.
Okay, perfect.
This wasn't present, actually, Michelle, when you first did the program with us. This is all new. So then we've got the influencing segments levers bar, influencing levers, they're called.
And that's radar on the top. It's just
They're the layers.
So
you've got the 7 layers. We'll go into that now when we do the case study. It's showing you the breadth of opinions, showing you the average response, the optimist view, the pessimist view. So now you can drill in more detail by layer.
Okay, that's what I. Okay.
And then you see the levers, which are the specific levers that are straining. So it's giving you, on the heat map, you can sort of see it anyway, and you can dissect it by the lever by the layer. And I find that more powerful, but this gives you the collective view. Depends how your mind works. I'm a visual dyslexic, so I can see the patterns very quickly as per the heat map. Then it shows you the 5 ways that the team prefers to be valued. So now you can have your collective strategy about how do we communicate and execute reward on a holistic scale. And then when I go to the individual, then I customize to them based on their parametrics. And then the last 2 parts is directly asking the question to the team. So instead of asking it in the 35 question set, we just ask them directly. Out of these 7 layers, what do you think is most important right now for us to have a better culture? And out of these 7 layers, what do you think is most important to us right now to improve our performance? So it's 2 of the P's, people and profit, and performance, 3 of the P's, in fact. Now, I can't stress enough, we're not there as culture practitioners to prescribe a solution to them. What we're there to do is to help them read and understand the insights together with their experience and understanding of the people. Then we can form good questions to ask the teams to get engagement about what types of culture projects they want to do to shift the culture. And it'll be a combination of collective culture projects and specific to department culture projects.
And if I remember correctly, Stephen, when you come to, let's say, my organization, you know, I'm making this up, not Blink Minds, but at one organization, and I tell you, you know, our values XYZ, and then when you do this, you know, team engagement survey and how people they prefer to be valued, that might be totally different than what existing values are, right?
Right.
That's exactly what you mentioned, how they are totally off.
Yeah.
From where their employees are being valued.
Yeah. It's more often the case that's where it's at.
Okay.
And then it's about them helping them understand, well, how do I now integrate where I want the business to be versus the culture that I have?
Right. Okay.
It's a combination of leading as well as changing some of the values as well.
Okay.
So here's the case study that we're going to work on now. So it's the data out of the example. So what we want to do is understand what type of correlation we have on this map. Yeah, this is the first part of our understanding. The team's participation score is normally a good insight as well about how good the organisation is communicating for a start and how inspired they are to complete the survey. So if we get a low participation rate, what might that indicate?
Lack of
If
interest.
people are not engaged.
Yeah, not engaged and not interested. So when might they
Right.
not be engaged and interested? There's two scenarios that can occur.
When they're considering leaving and they're not feeling valued.
Yep, when they've lost hope, they can't be bothered.
Yeah, trust. They don't trust.
Yeah, what's the other flip side of that? When else might I not be so interested?
They don't have any faith.
Yeah, when everything is well, I don't really care either, right? It's like, yeah, it's all good. I don't need to give my opinion. I love it already how it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
two extremes. So
Yeah.
when that number is low, you've got an outlier scenario with the culture. It's either thriving or dying. Or it could be that they haven't communicated it well. That can often be the case as well, that they just haven't distributed the survey properly. So when they distribute the survey, they should first communicate it to the teams. If they're multi-level team, then they should communicate it to the leaders to communicate to the teams. Then they execute it electronically, and then they communicate it again. Yeah, so you need 3 points of contact for good communication.
Yeah.
The next section is the heat map. So the heat map we discussed before, what we're doing there is we're looking at what we call point opportunities or point Kaizen. Kaizen just means continuous improvement in Japanese, the art of evolving. So the point Kaizens are both strengths and opportunities for growth. We don't just drill into negativity. We want to drill into positivity first. And our strategy should include defending the strengths of the organization while building and growing areas of opportunity. So that gives you a strong insight by points. Then the next part is to look by layers and by levers. So you can see here, this layer has got a lot of orange, and these levers have got a lot of orange in them. There's opportunities there. The strength layers are this layer, purpose layer, and this lever is quite strong, and also the significance and achievement layer. So they've got more strengths in layers than they do have in levers, as a ratio, which means that the leadership at this organization's fairly strong. They just need better strategy around culture. Sorry, other way around. The culture's fairly strong. They need better strategy around leadership.
Yeah.
The levers. So the next part of the survey report that comes back tells you now specifically the layers. From the 35 questions, what are the 3 strength layers? It gives them to you automatically as part of the report. What are the 3 growth layers? So what you're doing is collecting the numbers when we do the assessment about how we're going to guide and ask questions around strategy. So what's popping up here is 6, 4, and 2. Yeah, if we're in terms of the layers of growth, 6, is what we saw on the heat map, 4, and 2. And ironically, 2 has also one of our strength levers points in it as well. So these are really interesting to start exploring and understanding what's happening. So what we have on the radar chart is the breadth of opinion. This also speaks volumes. So the max is the most optimistic view from the survey results. And the red is the minimum, the most pessimistic view from the survey results. And the blue is the average. So when we have the average closer to the pessimist than the optimist, that is a strong indicator that we should explore where we can grow that. Where we have the average closer to the optimist than the pessimist, that's a strength of the culture. When we have such a breadth of opinion, that's an indicator that the execution of culture has got opportunity for improvement. There's not cohesion in the understanding of culture. If there's no optimist, so if you see the green not touching the edge of the wheel, it means nobody thinks that aspect of the culture is perfect and there's room for improvement. That speaks the loudest. If you don't see a green bar all the way around on the outside, the layers that don't have someone seeing it perfect means they are the first opportunities for growth, because everybody in the organization can see an opportunity there, even the optimist. So this is what gives you then your culture engagement score. See, this one's just below the average, 64%. It's a real client, by the way. The 5 levers of influence is the next aspect. So it will give you, again, the 2 strengths. So the self-perspective is a strength, and the communication is a strength. The areas of growth are organizations and systems and leadership. Yeah. So
how does that usually get received, that the leadership's a strength, a growth area? Varied, I imagine.
Different based on mindset. And this is what I was saying earlier. This really starts to separate which clients you want to work with and which ones you want to put effort into growing mindset, and which ones.
There'd be a denial on some, I imagine.
Yeah. So typically it's well received if it's well delivered.
Yeah.
So
because you talk about the opportunity.
Yeah, to be discovered in some cases. Yeah. Sometimes they're brilliant leaders, but they just don't have the courage or the strategy to voice it with their team.
Yeah.
And that's where most of my coaching is, in that space.
And that's exciting, isn't it?
It is. It's giving people the opportunity to shine.
Yeah.
I don't shy away from this type of result. I actually get excited, but I am also quite direct in inviting people to growth. And if I don't get a sense of openness to grow, I just won't touch it, for their benefit and for ours.
Yeah.
Because we're not there to force anyone into growth. Growth,
no, that's right.
Got to be selected. It's got to be invited, and then you get the most out of it.
Yeah.
And trust is at the heart of that.
Yes.
So right from the get-go, I asked for their permission. I was like, do I have your permission to be direct and open with you guys? And if I say it might bring up things that make you feel uncomfortable. And what I'm inviting you to do in that trusted conversation is to tell me when you feel that. They are the opportunities for growth. And I'm not claiming to know everything, but I do have a depth and a breadth of experience to help you navigate through this to get you the outcomes that you want. So the question is, do you want to grow you, and do you want to grow your people and this organization? And if it's a yes, 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 then I will persevere to help them grow.
Fabulous. I love that delivery.
So the 3 highest rated lever strengths, again, it's about acknowledging their strengths. Yeah. Don't forget, guys, what we know to be true. Character strength acknowledgement empowers people. So we always start with empowering them. Empowering them opens them up then to be more resilient to the growth opportunities. Then we discuss, here are the growth opportunities. And we ask lots of questions. What might be occurring here? Do you think it's holistic in its opportunity, or is it departmental? Do you think this was systemic? Do you think it was historical? Yeah, you just really start exploring the question so you can understand what's going on to help them draft a strategy for them and their people.
Can I ask just one question while I've got you? I'll be very quick. Do you find that the fact now that so many organisations are financially challenged, that they're giving more and more responsibility to individuals so that they become overloaded, are the organisations that you're seeing succeeding really looking at that, the amount of work that they're putting on people and how they can deliver that, and actually caring about, that work-life balance piece? Are you seeing good things in that space?
Amidst COVID-19, I'm seeing people taking on more than they ordinarily would.
Yeah.
In the good cultures.
Yeah.
In the struggling cultures, I'm seeing people rejecting the things that are putting strain on them.
Yeah.
Now, the great leaders of the good cultures are strategic enough to help the teams go through and dissect what is meaningful in order to correct the life balance again.
Yeah, great.
Saying, right, now this is high on our priority. These things that you ordinarily were doing, you can leave them for the time being. We'll ride with a little bit higher risk in order to get the result that we need. And then once we get back to a sense of balance and normality, then we'll pick them up again and we'll re-employ. So it comes back to leadership again.
Yeah, you're right, it does. Thank you.
So teams, how they express they prefer to be valued. So this team in particular, what's their strength? What are they looking to be valued as most? What's their preferred way of being valued in this team?
Being supported.
Being supported.
They like reward too.
Yeah, reward. This is ordinarily high.
Reward.
So what might that indicate if being rewarded is high in a corporate team?
They aren't being rewarded.
They're not being paid very well, yeah.
They're not, yeah.
So by market rate. So they have a sense of being undervalued.
Yeah.
Financial, that tends to be. Or they might not have any reward mechanism at all. Yeah, their pay is just flat no matter how hard they work. That can also cause it. Now, if this slope, see the slope between the lines, the angle here, if that's steeper, what might that mean? So that was from here to here.
So you mean from down to up?
Yeah, so say being connected was 0.5 and they were steadily increasing all up to being supported, which was at full 5. What would that indicate to you? In terms of
then
there was a majority feeling the same way.
Yeah, alignment in view. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the steeper this line between the slope between the opinions, the more aligned the opinion. The flatter the line. So if they're all nearly even, like, where is this one? Oh, there's one down here. So that one's steeper again.
Yeah.
That one's fairly steep too, but the middle part there, see, it's pretty even. So you can see the opinions are mixed. Yeah, there's mixed opinions. That makes the line become more straight. But when the opinions are aligned, then you get the slope. So
what do you generally see in mixed opinions? Is there any standout things that you see that has an impact?
No, there's really, every culture is really uniquely different. This is why this is incredibly powerful, because you can start seeing what's going on in that culture. And without this, you're walking blind. Like how would I shift a culture of 2,000 people without having these insights?
Impossible.
Throw the money into the fire, because and that's why people don't spend money on culture, because they don't know how to execute to create shift, and this helps you have the clarity.
Yeah.
So Stephen, you're saying that for this value, the top one.
Yeah, being valued. So their primary is being supported.
Yes, but since it's very close to each other, so it's almost like being rewarded, being seen, and being heard. It's almost the same.
Exactly.
So that means that the most of people are thinking the same way, or just like there are a lot of different opinions.
Yeah, mostly thinking the same way.
Thinking the same
different ways. It's
different
scattered.
ways, right?
People have said rewarded, some have said seen, some have said heard, so it's coming out level.
Yeah.
So,
that's why it comes on the like okay.
Yeah.
But if it is the other way around, it's just most people are just actually on the same.
Correct. So if you have
view.
these two, let me just annotate this so we can. So say this one was here, right? And then the next one was here, and then this one was here, here, and here. Now you know that these three are sort of inconsequential, but these two are really distinctly what people are looking for.
Okay.
If you had another, go ahead.
So I was just thinking, I wonder if the leadership isn't aligned, if it's all over the place, because often you have different leaders with different ways they manage people, and some people are favorably managed and other people are managed what they deem to be, they're not getting a lot out of that relationship. And that's why there's people having so many different views.
Yeah, I find people are mostly intuitively aware of how they prefer to be valued. Once we ask this question, it can be the case that they've never considered it. That happens a lot. But as soon as they think about it, they know. People answer this pretty quickly out of all the surveys. It's one of the quickest answers.
Yeah.
Like, I just love this, or I love this, or I love this.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking not specifically about that question, but generally with the results.
Generally, yeah, true.
Yeah.
So on the 7 layers of focus now, what are you seeing there? What are they seeking most?
Value and appreciation.
Value and appreciation.
Ordered and accepted.
Fairly big step too, right?
Mm.
And what are the least desired things? They're pretty close to each other.
Feeling free.
Yeah, feeling free.
Free and autonomous.
Safe.
Feeling autonomous. Safe, sorry. Yeah, and feeling safe.
Safe.
So if you start looking at the trends here, and when you know a bit about the company, so I know this is a tech company, right? So I understand, okay, there's a lot of strain in tech development. There's potentially a scenario where they're underpaid and they like to be seen. Tech people are not very touchy-feely.
Connected, yeah.
Yeah. So you're seeing that coming up in the themes, but they want to be appreciated, but it's not by a sense of touch and feel. Yeah. That's not those top people. If I give you a healthcare report, you'll see that's very distinctly different. Those people all about touch and feel. And that's how they heal, in fact. Yeah, the care through touch. So you want to understand the context of the customer that you're unpacking this for.
That's true.
So this is asking them, what do we most need now to increase performance? What are you seeing there? What's the big step out and the big step down?
Oh, yeah, the teamwork and communication. Yeah.
Yeah. So teamwork and communication, layer 2, and layer 7 is strong. Yeah, they don't need more of that. Purpose and meaning. If we double check back on the heat map, layer 2, yeah, they say, oh, we need more of this, and communication and organizations and systems, these 2 levers, and we are strong on layer 7, they're saying. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. So they've answered it one way and they've answered it another way, the same thing. Now you've got clarity that this is very precise.
Yes, but also they're not really into being connected that much because of the nature of the organization. But at the same time, they would like to have a better communication and connection.
Yeah, so this tells you, I'm looking for support, but the way I like it to be valued in terms of my support is to be supported, yeah, which is like doing acts of support. Don't come and give me a hug. Come and help me with my work.
With my work, okay. So that's what they mean by the last chart that we saw, the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. So they feel safe and secure. They've got, in fact, maybe too much autonomy. Yeah, they're too much on their own. This is saying, oh yeah, I'm fully on my own. What I want is actually more support.
Okay, and the way that they want to do appreciation and they want to feel value, most desire, by being supported, not giving hugs or just connecting. Okay.
So now you've got the information, we can start formulating the strategy. So have a look at your reports there. And we're working on now the case study. So the people engagement summary matrix pattern, what type of correlation are you seeing in that pattern? Is it a horizontal correlation? Is it a vertical correlation? Is it a cross correlation?
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, bring it up on your screen and then we'll go through them together and you'll see how easy this becomes then for formulating a strategy.
Sorry, I only have one screen, so I'm just going to go with you.
Yeah. So we'll look at that together. I can easily go back to it. So let's have a look at the correlation there. What correlation do we have? Cross correlation from disengaged to self-actualized.
Disengaged. Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing you can get with cross correlation, but with vertical correlations and horizontal correlations, you can have them 2 in each. But the cross correlation, I guess you could have a cross correlation here. I haven't seen one yet. This is probably the most common pattern too, this cross correlation.
So those 2 dots at the very far end, they're highly self-actualized people.
Who do you think they might be?
So they're you. That's you.
No, I'm not in this. This is a real...
No, I'm joking, but that's those people who are all over it there.
Yeah.
They know who they are and they're highly engaged and self-aware.
Yeah. they're filling every aspect of the organization's fulfilled. And often when we interview the people that are in this zone, they're typically on the executive team because they're executing it all. They understand everything that's going on. And you can see the separation between them, right?
Mm.
And then you start getting the real data. So these people here are really interesting. It's like, okay, how long, the question I like to ask is, how long have you been in the organization? If I know where they are and they're happy to disclose that, then it was like, all right, you've been here for a year. So what's happened to you compared to another person that's been here for a year? What's the difference? Is it just mindset or is it system? I was like, oh yeah, I had a personal mentor and coach and they've helped me through the journey. So, okay, how do we replicate that? Yeah, now you start really getting into the deep aspects of creating good culture. So let's fill in what we know. So this is about biting off pieces of the elephant to form the picture. So we have a cross correlation between disengaged, engaged, and self-actualized engagement. The homework is for you guys to do this yourself if you're not doing it already as we go along. So the team culture engagement heat map, what do you notice on the team culture engagement heat map? I like to either do in 2s or 3s. So what are you seeing?
2s or 3s? Okay. So, I mean, the first thing I thought is that from the meaning and purpose under leadership, it's something that they need to work on.
Yep. So
2.9.
2.9. Which one again? So leadership.
Leadership for the meaning purpose. 7.
7. Okay. Yep. So 7B.
I mean, 7B. Yes.
Yep.
And then for discovery growth, under 6B, under leadership, it's a growth opportunity.
Opportunity for growth. Yep. And then.
And how do you connect this, Stephen, with feeling evolved? Because that's the kind of, like an emotion that just feeds into. So people are, there's a growth opportunity for leadership under discovery and growth for people to feel evolved.
Yep. So there's an opportunity for leadership to create opportunities for discovery and growth for people to feel evolved. That's how you read them.
Okay.
There's an opportunity for organizations and systems to create a sense of gratitude and care so people can feel valued.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
awesome. ShareTree would fit right into this culture now.
Yeah. Again, for organizations and systems, for the truth and for level 5, 5D.
5B.
Yes.
5D.
Yeah, 5D as a David.
Why not 4D?
Oh, sorry, 4D.
4D, yep. So we've got 7B you've picked. Why 7B? I'm interested to know compared to 7B6, B4, and B2. Why did you pick 7B?
I started from the top. I just thought that for leaders to have the meaning and purpose, it's the good start to and then focus on the discovery and growth.
I'm not disagreeing with you. The quick way to effectively see the patterns is to pick the peaks and the troughs. So pick the highest and the lowest. If I do a snip of this, let me just try this. This might work.
So it's better to pick not really go through each line for the heat map. It's just going through the lowest and then the highest. Yeah.
So we'll go back down to here. So I'll show you the quick way on how you get the value out of this. So this is the way that I normally do it. So let's first look at the 3 growth opportunities. Yeah. What are the 3, the 3 strength opportunities? What are the 3 best strengths on the heat map? which are the 3 highest values.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
how you go. So the 2A, acceptance and connection.
2A. Bring it up here so you can see it as well, Michelle.
Yeah. Thank you.
2A.
2A.
And then 5A.
5A.
And then
Now you've got
7A.
Yeah, there's a whole heap there. So when you get that many, I just stick with 2. You see how I say
Yeah.
2 or 3?
2. Okay.
So 2A and 5A.
And 6B
Yeah.
is the growth.
5A. 6B is a growth opportunity.
Yes.
What else have we got in growth? So we want definitely more than 1, but try not to be more than 3.
4D.
4D.
4D. Beautiful. 4D. Right.
Okay, so you're doing more like a snapshot of
Yeah.
the strengths and
Picking
the
up
growth.
the themes from the report so you can start forming where to focus questions. So
Much
when
easier. Okay.
it's a continuous improvement approach. So when you come in and you help an organization evolve its processes for high performance, there's thousands of things you can do. What you want to do is have a look at what's going to create the highest impact for the least effort. They call it low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
What we're doing now is looking at those low-hanging fruit and understanding what's strong that we can leverage to defend also the culture. So now we're going to look at team culture engagement heat map on the 7 layers. So which are the patterns of strength on the 7 layers? So just the strength layers now. So let's go back to the map. Which layers are the 2 strongest layers?
5.
5.
1.
And 1. Would you agree with that, Michelle?
Sorry, it disappeared too quickly.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. It's not your fault.
I'm going to color this so it's easy to read later on. Oh, that's meant to be red. This is green. This is how I use visual dyslexia to get results quickly. This is strengths, right? So this is green.
I'm a big color person too.
What are you seeing as the strengths, Michelle? 5 is what?
3.
I said 5 and 1.
Oh, what? 7.
Yeah, I would say 7 as well.
Yeah, 7.
Oh, 7.
Yeah, 5, 1, and 7 are strengths. What are the strength levers? Which are the levers of strength here? Which are the levers of strength?
A.
Yep.
Maybe C.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Naz? A and C?
Yeah.
Yeah. A and C, strength levers. Now let's do the same for the growth opportunities. What are the growth layers?
6.
6. There you go, Michelle. 6, we've got this one, the hotspot layer.
Maybe 4.
4.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Yeah.
4.
6
Better.
And now what are the growth levers? Which levers most have opportunity for growth?
D.
D, yep, definitely. And the second
And
one?
B.
B and B. I agree with that as well. How about you, Naz?
Yeah.
Generally, what is the top 2 of the 5 ways the teams prefer to be valued? What's the top 2 ways they prefer to be valued? Being
supported
And rewarded.
rewarded.
and rewarded.
They're pretty close though, the other ones. What are the top 2 needs the team believes require focus for improved culture? Culture focus.
feeling valued and appreciated.
Yep.
Supported and accepted.
Yep. So 4 and
And
2.
4 and 2.
4, 2. What are the top 2 needs the team thinks need to be focused on to increase performance?
It's teamwork and communication.
Yep.
7.
Oh, is that 2?
Sorry, 2.
Yep.
2
So
and 1.
these are written in the context of that layer.
Oh, teamwork and communication, financial security and physical.
So you can see how this is linked to safety and security. This is linked to
2.
support and connection. So we're asking questions in different ways to see the perspective. So it's 2 and 1, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
1 and 2. Okay. Have a look now. You've got a pattern forming, right? What are you seeing here?
That's what I want to see.
What's popping out constantly?
BD.
Yep.
BD 4.
6 for.
So 4 is an opportunity for growth.
Yep.
And it comes into 2 as well, 4 and 2.
So B and D in layers 6, 4, 2.
2.
Yeah, and we've got some strange anomaly going on here.
Yeah, the 2.
With the strength going on. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting to explore.
Yeah.
So ask about 2A. Yeah. So now you could formulate and write a report now and say, here's what we're seeing in the patterns. And this is where now as a practitioner, you add your flair and you charge a fee on top of that. So the report is a small fee. At the moment, it's complimentary for the overarching segment during COVID. That's our way of helping, but normally it's only $500. You guys get it 20% less. It allows you then to either package that into an unpacking session and fee. Typically, people are charging between $2,000 and $5,000 for these types of consults. And then if they want to break down the consults to each of the subcultures, then it's $250 per additional segment. You get the report, then you do another unpacking report. So if you do a full culture strategy on 1,000 people, it might be like a $30,000 to $50,000 gig that you go in and you do all the unpacks, but the reporting is going to cost you on that size organization, maybe about $5,000 only. So it becomes a very powerful way for you to get in there, educate them and empower them, use lots of good questions, and then from there, formulate culture strategy with the teams. Now we encourage the leaders to disclose the results. It's one of the first buttons I press is I say, you want to build culture. At the heart of culture is trust. To build trust, they've just taken the time and effort now to answer these questions. The best thing you can do is have the courage to share the results with them and then build trust by asking them why this has happened and how does it look in a better state. That's the next piece of work. Then you go into the culture and you say, here's what we're seeing, guys. 6 layers B and D, layers 6, 4, and 2, and levers B and D are our best opportunities for growth. And our strengths are layers 5, 1, and 7. So why are you inspired by purpose? Yeah. What are the things that are working well at the moment? How do we make sure that we maintain the level of security and safety that you feel? How do we make sure that we maintain your sense of autonomy? And at the same time, how do we keep your mindset and maintain our sense of communication? While we look at strengthening your state of evolution, so that you can grow, that we make sure that you feel valued and that you feel supported. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. And we want to do that by improving our leadership and our communications and systems, our systems and processes.
Yeah, that's very clear here with the heat
It's
map.
become
Like
super
B
clear,
and D.
right?
BND is very clear. And just maybe I missed it. I got the team participation percentage and then the culture engagement percentage. And where was the leadership adaptation
Leadership
percentage?
adoption is coming up. So that comes from the monthly report.
Oh, okay.
So
Because that also tells I remember you were saying that it also tells you how much of time that you want to either spend with them or just
gives you insight into how the leaders are engaging with the teams. We're doing that. That's the next work study that we're going to do.
Okay. How much of resistance? Okay. That's great.
Here you get the first indication here by what the team says about how the leaders engage. And it shows you here by the lever of leadership where their area is. So the leaders could spend a lot more time to help develop and grow. So a couple of strategies that would pop up that I would put in front of them now is, how would a mentorship program create a different scenario for this culture? How would a continuous improvement program create a scenario in this culture? And the reason why, Michelle, we were so incredibly successful for years, but I didn't know it, but lean, which we were using to drive improvement in organizations, I thought people were buying lean, and they were procuring lean.
Also culture.
We were running culture programs time after time after time after time. That's what was getting the result, because continuous improvement helps people feel safe.
Yeah.
The company's spending money, that people feel supported because they do all these projects, and they get accomplishment because they present them back. Then they feel valued. They're given time to work on the project, so there's freedom and autonomy. They learn while they do the project, and we drive it all through a sense of Kaizen, which is continuous improvement, gives them meaning.
What a journey you've had.
So it's been a wonderful way to learn.
Yeah.
And Stevens, now that I'm just, it's like a puzzle, which the more you looked at it, the more you see it, like how it's connected. But when you look at the feeling valued, like a 4D, it's 2.5, and that's exactly what they actually said it, by saying how they want to have like a team and connection, but that also a great match with what you were saying about 6B, where they want to just focus on the growth, the mentorship program, which will kind of help the other part of the growth area that they might want to focus. Okay. I think the more you looked at it, it's a very like a powerful map.
Yeah. Now you have the vision of an eagle. You can actually look in at a culture, and it blows people away, because you walk into an organization of 100 or 1,000 people with these reports, and you start telling them about a culture that they've lived in for 13 years, and you do it within one day. And they're like, "Oh, how did you know that?" I was like, "Well, it's here. It's in the data. The patterns have become very clear, and they emerge by themselves." So it's powerful. So as a practitioner now, the objective would be to get collective projects that tackle holistic culture opportunities. And if you go down by subcultures, then you run a subculture project where needed. So if this leadership issue was coming out of specifically 2 out of 8 cultures, for instance, then you'd have customized strategy for those cultures, and then you'd have a collective strategy for the group. And one of the teams might pick up what the mentorship program looks like. Another team member might roll out ShareTree. So it depends which teams do what. Some of them tackle the whole, some of them tackle the piece. Make sense?
Yes. And then the workshop or that you do, that is separate, right? How you identify those 3 values and then the 4, on their purpose. So that's totally different, which is also, I think, critical.
Where we are in the journey here, I'll just go back to the journey. So what purpose, vision, cultures, DNA, value setting, and evolution assessment, that's a separate piece as a preparation. So it can be some companies, a lot of them do, in fact, they come in with this first. They get the survey, then they see there's a gap in purpose, then they come back and do this piece, then they set the values and they roll out ShareTree. Some of them roll out ShareTree and realize that the values that are going on don't match the culture, and then they come back and do this piece later. So they come in from all directions. Some people are trying to recruit people that fit the culture, then they realize they need to understand their culture, so they do this piece.
Yes,
So
and then for cultural practitioner, they do not do purpose and vision alignment.
you
Or
can
just
deploy
key
that.
phases. We can
I've
deploy it?
got full training on that I can coach you on deploying. Some of them are
Okay.
already experts in that space. Some of them get us to do it for them. Some of them use other practitioners. So it's up to you. This is an empowerment program. You take what you need to take Blink Minds and your business forward. And all we ask is that you're honest to acknowledge whatever you use that you reference from us, and that the technology is there to back you. Yeah. So you say, I am Naz from Blink Minds, empowered by ShareTree. Yeah.
Yes.
So we are backing you.
Yes, and one more thing that you promised, this is last one. So for the individuals, when they do take, parametrics, like assessment, and they want to just see what kind of cultures, hypothetically, they will be a great fit, would that be an option for them to not get a report like a team engagement survey, because there isn't any team. They're just looking at what kind of culture they're very good fit.
That's parametrics. Yeah, that's session 3. Next session we'll go into that.
And we can tell about the culture fit for them by looking at the parametrics. Okay.
So the parametrics are going to tell you where your character strengths are, and then you can look at the values into an organization. Whether they're accurate about portraying their values or not is the next question. But if they are clear about their values, then you can see if you align to those values.
Okay.
And when
So
you're
there's any other report that you can actually have to do to match that parametrics report for individuals, right?
Yeah, so character strengths is what you're getting for the individual. Parametrics is the culture of a team and how they fit their character strengths.
Perfect.
That's exactly what that tool does, is what you're asking. So you might not know the company character, culture, DNA, but you have your character strengths. So now you look in and say, okay, how do I fit this culture? How do I fit that culture? And so on.
Okay, perfect. Now it's just more clear. Wow, it's so much fits in my brain than the first session. I guess that's how you guys have built this, probably.
That's why we broke it into 3. Yeah. So it sinks every time we touch it, it gets deeper.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much.
No worries. Good questions. All right. So now we're set, right? Now we've got a culture discussion that we can have to start formulating a strategy. And then those people will go on, which is what I was showing you here. They will go on to, did I go the right way? No, I didn't. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. So now we're here, we've got this, and now we're going to start forming the culture strategy to deploy. We know their values. We can now deploy the app, and the app is now running, and we're collating data. That brings us to step 3, which we now have the measurements of the monthly reporting. Now we've set the navigation with the culture strategy. And now we're going from month to month, where we start looking at how we're tacking. If you remember back to the yacht and the catamaran I showed you at the start. Now we're navigating to make sure we execute this strategy that we've drafted up from the report that we've just unpacked. Yeah, so there's a piece of work now to draft the culture strategy. We are saying this culture is going to do something around levers B and D, layers 6, 4, and 2. What it is, you should work out with the teams that they nominate what those projects are to create the shift. And where you look to refer to those shifts is back from session 1 and all those ideas from all of the culture practitioners before you. Yeah, 6, here's all the ideas for 6. 4, here's all the ideas for 4. 2, here's all the ideas for 2. Lever B, leadership activities. Lever D, organization and system activities. Lean, Six Sigma, continuous improvement, all fits in those categories. Easy, right? It starts becoming very easy.
Yes, now it just all connects what we did with that. Okay.
Brilliant. All right. So let's continue on now. So we've just now done the team culture engagement survey. When you want to deploy that, it's pretty easy. You go to the website at ShareTree. At the moment, as I mentioned before, we're supporting all organisations with COVID-19, so it's complimentary, but normally we charge $500 for the initial survey, $250 per segment. As a practitioner, you get everything 20% less. You buy through us, so you've always got control over your customers. We don't want your customers. We want you to get great results with your customers. So you click on this. At the moment, it's complimentary, so you get it for free. You'll get one, even if this expires, you get one credit with a practitioner program to run one survey complimentary anyway, which you can still charge your client. You can download the sample here, take the survey, and then off you go. You fill in the criteria for the company. It's going to guide you through the process, collect all the information. You become the point of contact, and so on and so forth. If they register, we ask who your practitioner is. So if they come to us directly, one of your clients, and they mention you, then we give it back to you. Yeah. So we try and keep all of our people in the loop as we go. Then you answer the next part, which asks questions about how to construct the survey, the timing of the survey, what the groups are. It's pretty straightforward. It's simple.
And then you will be able to send them to take the survey?
Yeah. So then we send the survey to the practitioner. They can do an unpacked session. So again, with Culture Prac, you get the first one complimentary. If you need us to unpack with you over time, then we set up an arrangement where you pay us for that time, but you'll be fine. Once you do the first few, you're fine. For big clients, sometimes the practitioners engage us to support them with the unpacks because we've got a bit more breadth and depth of experience in our team. But once you get comfortable with this, you'll pick it up very easily.
Okay.
So if the complimentary offering is over, where you'll find it is in the shop. So shop, digital products. Then you'll after this workshop, you'll get a coupon code. Whatever you buy, you put in the practitioner coupon code in there. It will give you your 20% discount. So the customer can never buy it at the price that you buy it at. What some practitioners do is they pass on 5% discount to their client. Other ones don't list our price at all. They just bundle it together. Some people charge full price. It's up to you. The discount 5% to your customer works well, in my opinion, gives them transparency. It helps build trust, and it makes sure that they keep coming back to you because they can't get that 5% discount from us. We will send them back to you. So team culture engagement survey, you just hit that. See that that's the normal price. And then when it pops up, go to the cart and pop in your coupon code. It will apply the discount. Apply coupon code, put the code in there, and then you get your discount, and then off you go. So that will generate the link then to generate the report, and you take it from there. Cool. So we'll go through this again in the next session, but I just wanted to give you a quick insight of what's there in case you had something to do straight away. So get back to the content. We are running slightly behind schedule, so let's move on.